Okay, so come, let's talk
Okay,
about
guys,
question number
what's
11, shall we?
There's a
Yeah,
question
okay,
as
so
well.
for question number 11, what concept is that? This is a
Speed.
speed concept. Am I making sense? Okay, this is a speed
said
concept. Okay, so we talk about this together. A car traveled at a uniform speed. Uniform speed basically means that the speed is
Constant
always the
speed.
very constant. Yeah, from hexagon town to octagon town. Okay, that's quite a funny name. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to draw a timeline first. Hexagon over here, octagon over here. Make sense or don't make sense? Now, this is traveled by the car. Agree so far?
Yeah.
And it passed a bus which was traveling at a uniform speed of 70 kilometers per hour in the opposite direction. So there is another vehicle, which is again, we learn that it is a bus, which is traveling towards car. This concept tells us that this is what concept is this? It's called a meet-up concept. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So what happens is this, they met each other somewhere. Where is that somewhere? We don't know. We are just going to assume that it's here. Teacher Joseph, why is it that you put it closer to the octagon? I'm sorry, not octagon. Yeah, octagon. Why is it that you put it closer to octagon? Because the bus is slower than the car. I mean, you think about it logically, definitely the bus is slower, right? Okay, we know that the bus is 70 kilometers per hour. Is this something that you can understand? Yeah.
Like 90.
Yeah, so when the car is already here, what happens is that the bus is here and they say hello. You know how buses sometimes they wind down the window and say hi? All right, so this is what happens. You don't know. Okay, now what happens is this. What did they say? They say 3 hours after they pass each other, the car reached the octagon town and the bus was 3 hours, Where do you think the car will be right now? The car is right
Octagon town.
here. Am I making sense? The car is right here. So you want to write over here, and we know that the information to us that, oh, it used how much time? How much time was taken? 3 hours. Am I making sense or not making sense?
Making sense.
And when the car reaches the octagon town, where is the bus?
170 kilometers away from Hexagon
Away, very good. So we just roughly estimate. Okay, I just roughly estimate first. Maybe I say the bus is over here. Okay, bus is what? 100 and what? 70 kilometers. So what I want to do is I want to write down that the distance for the bus. For the bus, I keep using purple color. Okay.
Okay.
Distance is 170 kilometers. Is this something that you can understand?
Yes.
Okay, so what happens? What did the question say? The question say, if the car took 7 hours to travel from hexagon town to octagon, 4 hours. Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Does it make sense to you?
Yes. However,
okay, so what happens next? What do we have?
Find the difference between the two towns. However, there's
other information do I have? 7 hours in total, you see? You get what I'm trying to say now?
7 hours.
Yeah?
Wait, that means okay, the distance between the car and the bus's distance is 170 kilometers per hour.
Yeah?
Over here, the question does not state when the car or the bus started or whether they started at the same time.
Okay, there's a speed over here, right? 70 kilometers per hour. Agree so far? We can find the time over here, right? Can we find the time taken over here? Can we find the time taken over here?
Yes.
Of course. You know, right? You know, right? Yeah.
And
so
using
what we're
the
going to
time,
do
we
is
can find the extra time.
very good. So 170 divided by 70, yeah, we get to an answer of 2, 3. So let me just put 2, 3 over 7 hour. Am I making sense or not making sense? 2, 3 over 7 hour. That is the first part. Make sense or don't make sense? Understand or don't understand?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so let's see how else. Well, what else can we do? What else can we do? Well, I don't know if you realize, okay, that something is 3 hours. Where is that 3 hours?
The time taken for the car to go to octagon town.
Okay, all right. So from the car to the octagon town is 3 hours, right? When the car and the bus met each other at this point, they say, okay, bye bye. What? How? So then the car took 3 hours, right? That means to say the bus is also
4 hours for the same distance for which the
from
car took
here
3 hours.
all the way to here, right? The bus actually took how many hours? Also 3 hours. Can you
However,
understand or don't understand?
I understand.
Very good. So the time over here, right?
It took 4 hours for the green part.
Why is it that it is for the green part? Why is that so? Because that is when very good. That is very smart of you. Very good. Very good. Very, 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 very good. So this 3 hours, and then after that, the other one. Okay, we know that the time over here is what? 4 hours. Can you understand or don't understand?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So when we have all of this information, right, from here we know exactly already, okay? We can actually find the distance over here. True? All right, what is the distance over here? We don't know, but do we know the time?
At the time.
Yeah, which is 7 hours.
Speed.
Very good. So the
Yeah.
distance we don't know, the speed is 70 kilometers per hour.
Time, I'll put bracket.
Well, so what we want to do right now is we know that the speed is 70 kilometers per hour, correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so this becomes what? 70
by the
times
distance
7, which is
traveled.
equals to 490 kilometers. You understand or don't understand?
Yeah.
Okay, let's read the question. What is the question trying to find? Find the distance between the two towns, right?
Plus what again? 490.
490, very good. So that is 170 plus 490.
660.
660.
I
Right?
think we are
So
correct.
that is the total, right? Total what? Total what? Tell me.
Distance.
Total distance.
Which is what we
Agree
need
or
to find
disagree?
in the question.
Agree or disagree? Okay, so that's basically what you need to find.
Or maybe.
So over here, right, you want to find the total distance, correct or not?
Yeah.
Okay, we will use the car to help us to find the total distance, can? Okay, the total distance for the car and the bus has to be the same. Am I making sense? Okay, so we know that the for car itself, right, the total time is what is the total time? The total time is how many hours? 7 hours, right? Actually, what I can do is I can find the distance over here. What is the distance over here? The speed is 70 kilometers per hour, what? Correct or not? So the distance over here is 210 kilometers. Make sense?
Yes.
Make sense or don't make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, very good. So then what we want to do is, of course, we want to basically just use total time, which is how much? The total time for the car is 4 hours, right? All right, I'm talking about just this part only, the yellow color part. Can understand or don't understand?
Understand.
Okay, then after that, what I want to do is I want to find out what is the speed. The speed, we know that it is how much? We don't know, right? Or we don't know what is the speed, yeah? Okay, but I know what is the distance, right? The distance from this yellow color part. How much is it? 170 and 210, correct or not? So 170 plus 210, how much is that? 210 plus 170, we get to an answer of 380. Make sense? Then we can find the speed, right? So 380 divided by 4. When I do 380 divided by 4, I get to 95 kilometers per hour. This is the speed of the car. Make sense or don't make sense? We using that. Very good to find the distance, correct? Yeah, so therefore your answer for this question, okay, has to be 665 kilometers.
Yep.
Well, for question 13, it's very obvious to me that this is basically, what we say that this is like an excess and shortage, or we can say this is called S1, S2. Am I making sense? Now, what we are going to do first is, of course, to write down the concept, right? We are going to say that this is what? S1 and S1 and S2. Very good. Okay, the first thing I want to do is to read the question. The question says that if Sarah sold 25 muffins and Jane sold 50 muffins every hour. So S1 talks about Sarah is to Jane, 25 is to 50. Always reduce that to simplest form. So 1 is to 2. Make sense? Okay, in situation 1, what happens is that Sarah will have the 360 muffins left. Okay, so 360 muffins left. And this is who? Sarah. So Sarah, 315 muffins, 360 muffins left. Now what happens next, right? In sentence number 3 says that if Sarah sold 50 muffins, so situation 2 is that Sarah sold 50 muffins and Jane sold 25 muffins every hour. So 50 is to 25. Of course, you want to reduce that to simplest form. You get to 2 is to 1, right? And what happens is that Sarah, 720 muffins left. Make sense or don't make sense? Okay. Well, I see a problem right here. I see a problem right here. You know what's the problem I see?
What?
I see a huge problem right here because you see for yourself, you realize, okay, that Jane actually sold all her muffins. Jane actually sold all her muffins. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
What if Jane sold all her muffins? Why is it that the ratio is different? The ratio has to be the
20 muffins
same.
left.
Am I making sense? The ratio has to be the same. For who? For this person called Jane. Am I making sense? Why is it that her ratio has to be the same? Because she had nothing left. That means she sold everything else. Am I making sense? So you're just going to times 2 to this, and you times 2 to this, we get to 4:2. Now this makes more sense. This makes way more sense. Okay, this makes way more sense. Can you understand this or you don't understand? Wow, what can you see from here is that Jane and Jane has to be the same, correct now? Now, can I ask you a question? Why is there a difference between Sarah in situation 1 and Sarah in situation number 2? What is the difference here? The difference here is how many units? 3 units. Agree so far? What do you think is the value of these 3 units? What do you think is the value of these 3 units?
25.
Why is it 25? What is the difference between the value of these
3 units, 360 minus 72.
Very good, 72. Sorry, I'm not 720. Yeah, over here is 72. 360 minus away 722. 772, right? So 3 units is actually equals to 288. Find Mr. Greenman. Mr. Greenman is 96. Am I making sense or not making sense? Okay, so then of course you want to solve the question. The question say how many muffins did Sarah have? Use whichever situation, you'll be able to get to your answer. Okay, let's say if which one I think I think that we can use the first one. All right, we can use the first one, right? How many muffins did Sarah have? So 96. She's left with 360. So 96 plus 360. Okay, can you understand or don't understand? Okay, you should get to an answer of 456 muffins Sarah have left, and therefore your answer for this question has to be 456 muffins. Now, the next question is a number x value question. Agree or disagree? All right. Why is it a number x value? Well, we can see over there, right? Okay, we can see over there. Again, we are just going to write NXV over here. Okay, so Pedro paid a total of how much? Paid a total of how much? 10,570. All right. For shipment of boots and sneakers. Okay, so this is my what I call this 10,570 is basically what I call my total value. Am I making sense? Well, the ratio of the pair of sneakers to the pair of boots is in this ratio of 3:2. Make sense? So I have 3 groups of sneakers and 3 groups of boots. It doesn't mean that I have 3 sneakers and 3 boots. You get what I'm trying to say? Okay, yes. And then they move on to tell you that the pair of boots cost $55. A pair of boots cost $55 more than a pair of sneakers. Am I making sense here or not making sense? Okay, in fact, this is what we call BDSD. Why? Because there is a small difference over here. Make sense? There's a small difference over here. So this is my small difference, and this over here is 266 is my total difference. My total difference.
Yeah.
The difference between the boots and the sneakers is this. The boots is what?
I know for a fact this.
Which one is more expensive? The sneaker is more expensive, right? So 266 is over here. So we say that this entire thing is 10,570. Correct. Okay, so 10,570 minus away 266. 10,570 minus away 266, we get to 10,304. What we want to do is, of course, we want to divide by 2. Am I making sense? We get to 5,152. Let's ask ourselves where to put the 5152. As you can see over here, the 5152, they are all parked here. Am I making sense? Well, from here itself, what you can really see is that for sneakers itself, right, is 3 units. And for boots, is how many units? 2 units. Am I making sense or not making sense? Very good. Okay, so what I want to say is I will say that 2 units of boots. Well, when I say 2 units of boots, I meant 2 groups of boots. Am I making sense? It's 5152. Well, then for sneakers, we will say 3 units of sneakers is 5152 plus 266 plus 266. All right, we get to an answer of 418. Make sense? Well, our job is to always make sure that we get to 1 unit and 1 unit.
Yes.
Okay, 1 unit of boots is basically what? 5152 divided by 2. Make sense?
Yes.
Which actually gives me 2576. Can you see that? That is one group of boots. Am I making sense?
Yes.
And then we get 1 unit of sneakers next. Okay, 1 unit of sneakers will be 5418 divided by 3. We get to an answer of 1806. So I have my SD. I definitely need to find my big difference. Correct or not? My big difference is 2576 minus away 1806. Can you understand? 2576 minus away 1806. We get to an answer of 770. True? What do? This is definitely a BDSD, not even NXV. Yeah? After I know that my BD, my SD, I can do BD over SD. Correct now, equals to 770 over 55. So dollar over dollar, what happens? When I do dollar over dollar, I will get to, again, my answer has to be not dollars anymore, right? I get to 14. 14 what? In this situation, we are talking about boots and sneakers, right? So we just say 14 items. Can? Okay, it has to be 14 items. Now, of course, you can now solve the question. Well, the question say to find the cost. That means how much is a pair of sneakers? Well, the first thing you want to ask yourself is how many sneakers did this person buy? We know it's 3 units, right? So we do 14 times 3. Agree or disagree? We get to 42 sneakers. And 42 sneakers for how much? We see from here is 5,418. So can we find one sneaker? Definitely. Can we find one sneaker? Definitely.
Yes.
5418 divided by 42. We get to an answer of $129. So therefore, my answer for this question has to be $129 for a pair of sneakers. Hannah had how many candles? 2 candles.
2 candles.
A and B, yeah? Now, this is a rate question, okay, but let me explain. I know it can be tricky. Well, the question says that candle A was 3 cm longer than candle B. So A and B, in terms of their difference in their length, can you see that it's 3? Make sense? For B, B is definitely shorter. Am I making sense? Okay, B is definitely shorter. So we put 3 inside, okay? What did Hannah do? She decided to read candle A at what time? 7:30. So I'm going to draw a timeline. Okay, whenever it's red, we try to draw a timeline to show what happens at every instance. Okay, we have A over here. Okay, and this is at what time? This is at 7:30. 0730. Am I making sense? And for candle B, candle B, she never started burning it at 7:30 a.m. She started it at what time? 9 a.m.
9.
You agree or disagree?
9
9 a.m. Okay, so this is for candle B. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So what I want to do really is to write down that this is 0930. Okay, because, oh, sorry, 0900. Because what time did Hannah started burning? 9 a.m. Make sense?
Yes.
Well, then they started burning, so burn. At what time? Sentence number 3. At what time? Sentence number 4, in fact. At what time? 11:30. 11:30. So we don't know where exactly, but we're just going to estimate that this is 11:30.
Yes.
They say that both candles were the same length. Well, what does that mean to you?
Means that they have an equal height.
Very good. And because of the word same length, from here we can assume that this is equating numerators.
Yes.
The total is not the same, but a part is the same from 11:30 a.m. onwards.
But we don't know what that is.
Yeah, very good. We don't have the value, right? So exactly what I'm going to show you, okay? Well, candle B burnt out completely at what time?
1 o'clock.
So we're going to say this part is 1 o'clock, which is 1300, right?
Yeah.
But candle A needed another 30 minutes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay? Well, so what we're going to do now, very simple. We are just going to ask ourselves, okay? Okay, we look at candle A. We look at candle A, okay? From 7:30 to 11:30, how many hours is that? 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, right?
Yeah.
So that is 4 hours. Am I making sense? From 11:30 all the way to 13:30, how many hours is that?
8.
How many hours is that?
Huh?
From 11:30 to 13:30. 12:30, 1:30.
Yeah,
2 hours. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, for me, 1.5
So
hours.
what we're going to find out now is the rate. What do I mean by the rate? We always have to find out the hour. In 1 hour's time, how much can A burn? Am I making sense?
Yes.
And we realize that in 1 hour's time, okay, because you see A needed how many hours in total? For candle A, it needed how many hours in total? 6 hours in total, correct? To burn
Yes.
one candle. Agree or disagree?
Yes.
So our job is to always get to our Mr. Green Man, which is 1
Yeah.
hour. And 1 hour is basically when you divide by 6 over here, you divide by 6 on the other side. It's 1/6 of the candle. Am I making sense or not making sense? Okay, it's 1/6 of the candle in 1 hour. So we want to find 2 hours. Why do I want to find 2 hours? Because I want to find how much is left. Agree so far? So we get to 2 over 6 times 2, we get to 2 over 6 of the candle. Am I making sense? This is 2/6 of the candle. Do the same thing for candle B. Do the same thing for candle B.
Which is what you should be.
Okay, so for candle B itself, right, how do you do that? Very simple, same thing, same idea. Because it's red, we always want to find in 1 hour's time how much is burnt. Okay, in 1 hour's time, how much is burned? Okay, it went from 9 to 11:30. 9 to 11:30, that is what? 10:30, 9, 10, 11. So that is what? 2 hours, 30 minutes. Agree or disagree? 11:30 to 1, that is what? 1 hour, 30 minutes. So in total, right? 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, 30 minutes is another hour. So in 4 hours' time, it will basically burn 1 candle B. So in 1 hour time, it will basically burn 1/4 of the candle. Make sense or don't make sense?
Yeah.
That means, make sense or don't make sense?
Yes.
Right, so what is left over here to be burned? 1.5 hour. Am I making sense? So we will just have to do 1 over 4 times 1.5, which gives me 3 over 8 of the candle left to burn. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you? Now, do you recall that I said one thing just now, right? I said after the 11:30 mark, after the 11:30 mark, they are of the same length.
Yes.
And I talked about how it is what we call equating what? Numerator. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So what you really have to do is to make sure that this one and this one has to be has to have the same numerator. Which one and which one? The 2 over 6. The 2 over 6 and the 3 over 8. Am I making sense? Well, so for the 2 over 6, right, what I want to do is I want to reduce that to something. Am I making sense? I want to reduce that to something. Okay, what do I have to reduce that to? I have to reduce that to 1/3. Does it make sense to you?
Yes.
All right, I have to reduce that to 1/3. Okay, so that's basically what I'm going to do. So we will change this to 1/3. All right, 1/3. Again, you want to make the numerator the same. You get what I'm trying to say? Okay, so this becomes 3 over 9. Wow, what can you see over here? Is it obvious to you already? A is what? 9 units.
Yeah.
B
3
is?
times 4.
Why 3 times 4? A is how many units? A is how many units?
A is
9 units, right? Look at the denominator, right? B is how many units? 8 units, right?
Yeah.
Why is it that A is 9 units and B is 8 units?
Because 3/8 of B is the same as
3/9 of A, right? So what we're trying to say is that this is 8 units. This is 8 units also. So this is how many units? 1 unit.
So I was intending to say that 2/3 of A is also the same as 3/8 of B, because you see
2/3 or 1/3? 1/3.
Oh wait, 1/3. Oh wait.
Make sense?
Oh.
So we have 1 unit. 1 unit is actually equals to 3 cm. Do you understand?
So I have a problem.
Question says what is it that they want us to find? The original length of the handle. Am I making sense? To find the original length of the candle, we just have to find 9 units of candle A. So 3 times 9, therefore your answer has to be 27 centimeter. Therefore, this is your answer for this question. Well, for question number 16, it says that in the year 2021, Abigail was 4 times as old as Lucas. So what you want to do is to, of course, you want to note that down first. Okay? So what you're going to do first, definitely write that down. 2021 for Abigail. Abigail is to Lucas is 4:1. Am I making sense or not making sense? Okay, so that is the first thing that you want to do. That's the first thing that you want to do. Now, when you're done with this part, right, you want to move on to the next part. Okay, you want to move on to the next part. It says that in the year 2027, right, which is
age will be
8 years more than twice of Lucas' age. What is the meaning of 8 years more than twice of Lucas' age? What is that? 8 years more than twice of Lucas' age. Well, from 2021 to 2027 will be how many years?
2027 we can
That's plus 6 years.
we have to draw table.
For which one?
2027.
Okay, you can draw a model lah. Alright, Abigail to Lucas. Abigail's, okay, so at first it was 4 units, right? Correct or not? True or not? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Lucas is 1 unit, right? Correct or not? What happens is that we are going to add 6 years. When we add 6 years over here, so this is the 6 years over here. Don't forget to add 6 years to Lucas also. This is what they're trying to say.
Yes.
Don't forget, because cannot be Lucas remains in the same time, right? Correct or not?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's 1
Okay.
unit plus 6.
Correct. Which one is 1 unit plus 6? You
Then
see this? Yeah? Understand or don't
so 4
understand?
units
So what I
plus
will draw,
6.
I will redraw.
Eight.
I will redraw, okay? Okay, they say twice of who? Twice of Lucas' age will be 8 years more than twice of Lucas' age.
Yeah.
So what we are going to do really is we are going to show that this is Abigail. Abigail is 6 over here. We have 1 unit over here. Continue 6 over here. 1 unit over here. Correct or not? Right?
Yeah.
Abigail is definitely the one who is older. Agree so far? And then we add in the 8. Right? Lucas will be just 6 over here and then 1 unit over here. Do you understand or don't understand? All right, 6 over where? 6 over here, 1 unit over here. 6 over here, 1 unit over here. Okay, so we have a unit over here. Make sense or don't make sense? Well, from here you can see already, very obviously, right? That everything over where? Everything, okay, you can see that this is the difference. True? Do you understand or don't understand?
Yes.
So what is the difference? The difference is always 3 units. The difference will never change because a person's age difference will never change. So you say that 3 units is equals to 1 unit plus 6 plus 8. Bring the 1 unit over. 2 units is equals to 14. Continue. 1 unit is equals to 7. Am I making sense? Okay, so what we want to do right now is to, of course, read the question. The question say, how old will Abigail be in 2031? Okay. We first find how old is Abigail in 2021. That is 4 units, right? So that is 4 times 7. Therefore, she is 28 years old in 2021. 10 years later, because 2031 is 10 years later, right? So this one is 2021. In 2031, that will be 28 plus 10, and therefore my answer has to be 38 years old, and therefore this is my answer for this question.
Okay.
Now, question 25, Graham placed an order of 100 choco balls, gum balls, and mint balls. Okay, at a toy store for his school games day. Okay, so well, choco plus gum plus mint is equals to 100. Am I making sense? This is my how many. So you want to write down your how many. Okay, yes. You also have something called your how much. True? $4 for choco. So choco is $4. Gumball is how much? $7. Make sense? And for the mint ball, it's actually how much? $22 each. Okay. So that is sentence number 2. So you want to write down all of these things first. As of this point, you still don't know what concept, right? You still don't know what concept.
Yeah.
You also don't know. You don't know anything, right? So we have to move on, okay? So we know that he spent a total of how much? $700 and $772. Agree or disagree?
Yes.
Okay, but Graham cannot remember things. He said, I could not remember how many I buy. I just went to the other person that, hey, I want 100 chocolate ball, you mix it for me. But he remembered that he ordered how many more gumballs than mint balls. So because of this, right, you don't have enough information. The only thing you can do is you have to use something called guess and check.
Try assumption.
Okay, you can use assumption, but the problem with assumption is that assumption works very well if there are 2 items. In this situation, there are how many items? 3 items. Am I making sense? So what you want, of course, you are going to start with choco over here, gum over here, mint over here. Of course, you have your last column, which is the total. Remember what you need. You need this to be 100 and you need this to be $772. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? And always remember that the gumball, very important sentence, is that the gumball is more than the mint ball by 12.
Yep.
Okay, so let's assume, that the gumball is, say for example, if the gumball is, let's go with everything gumball, no mint ball at all. Gumball is $7, right? So this gives me $84. If there's no mint ball, that means $0, right? That means the remaining will be 100 minus 12, right? Because 100 in total, so I have 88. What C is this? Choco. What choco ball? 352. Okay, but as you can see over here, when you add them up together, it gets you to 436, and this is not possible. Okay, so this is just my starting guess, okay? So I'm just gonna assume, maybe let's ask, okay, I will go for more gumballs. Can I go for more gumballs? Let's say 20 gumballs. So when I have 20 gumballs over here, it's $140, right? So how many mint balls would there be? If I have 20 gumballs, I have to say that I have how many gumballs? 8 mint balls. Agree so far?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
$176. Okay, 100 minus 28, we get to 100 minus 28, we get to 72 choco balls. Each ball is $4. We times first, and we get to $288. Well, when you add this up together, do you get to 772, which is my objective? 288 plus 140 plus 176. We get, oh wow, I'm very close, 604. Okay, let's continue to try that. So this is also not the answer, but I'm very, very close. Let's try a bit more gumballs, okay? We go with 28 gumballs times $7, 28 times 7, we get to an answer of 196. So if I have 28 gumballs, that means I must have 16 mint balls. 16 mint balls, and we get to an answer of $352. Well, for choco, I will do 100 minus 28 minus always 16. We get to 56 times $4. 56 times $4, and we get to $224. And from here itself, you can see, right, that 224 plus 196 plus 352, you will get to, oh wow, you get to 772. And therefore, how many gumballs did Graham order? Fix your eyes on gumballs,
28.
which is the G. Very good. So therefore, your answer for this has to be 28 gumballs. Okay, and that is your answer for this question. Now we are looking at question 34 right now. So for 34, it says that Jonas had tries as many comic books as Fred at first. Now, at this juncture, you should be able to identify that this is what we call a B and A. B and A.
No, not at this juncture yet.
Okay, all right. So from here, you can see that Jonas, when I say at this juncture, I mean like at this phase of the learning, okay, not in the sentence itself, okay? All right, so Jonas and Fred, we have our before. Who has tried? So Jonas has tried. So Jonas is 3 units, Fred is 1 unit. There must be something that happened, which is what we call our change, right? Sentence number 2 says what? Jonas gave 77 books to Fred. So we are going to minus away from Jonas 77, and we're going to add 77 to Fred. Now, my after is the most important part. If you go and say the after is 2 units and 1 unit,
Yeah, twice
that's
as
it.
many comic
It
books
should
as
be
Fred.
it should be 2 parts for Jonas, 1 part for Fred. The reason why we say 2 parts, 1 part is because they are not the same. It's not units anymore. When you have this, the next thing that you want to do is to make sure you write it out. 3 units minus 77 equals to 2 parts. 1 unit plus 77 equals to 1 part. Well, what are you going to do next? Make parts the same. Make parts the same. So 2 units plus 77 times 2, we get to 154. This equals to 2 parts. Okay, over here, you get to 3 units minus 77 equals to 2 parts. When parts and parts are the same, you want to remove the parts, right? Not so that you can basically say that 3 units minus 77 equals to 2 units plus 154. Same family, sit together, right? So 3 units minus 2 units is equals to 154 plus 77. 1 unit is equals to 154 plus 77, we get to 231. The question says, how many comic books did Jonas have? Fix your eyes on Jonas, which is my answer of 3 units. That is 693. But this is not good enough because they actually want you to find the answer in the end. Is Jonas have in the end? So 693 minus
No
77,
answer.
you get to 616, and therefore this is your answer for this question.
Well, right?
Well, this is a time question, of course. Okay, it's a speed time question. Listen, now over here it says what? Logan drives to his office every morning at 7:30 a.m. Okay, so yeah, I understand why you say S1, S2, very good. But I guess what concept are we going to use? We are going to use something called ratio. We're going to use ratio to help us to solve. If he drives at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour, he'll be late for work by how many minutes? 6 minutes. That means to say he's not fast enough. So
Yeah.
please write down that this is using ratio. Is that okay? All right, you either use difference or use ratio, right? So over here for speed, okay, what we're gonna write, we're gonna say that speed is actually equals to 60. Make sense?
Over here, I put TU because time up.
Sure. Okay, and he'll be late for work if he drives at 60 kilometers per hour. So what we are going to write first, we are going to say speed over here, as you can see over here, speed over here. We know that for Logan, okay, in situation 1, because this is the first situation, S1 is to S2. If he drives at 60, he'll be late by 6 minutes. And if he increases his speed by 20, that means to say he's going to drive at 80. Correct or not? Can you see what I just did?
Yeah.
Can you see what I just did? All right, so we're going to use ratio because we don't have enough information. We get to 6 is to 8. And of course, we reduce that to 3 is to 4. Make sense? That is for speed. Make sense? Well, then for the other one, it's basically time. Okay, for my time, T1 is to T2. Now, before I begin, right, before I even move on to the time part,
Okay.
I want to ask myself, what is the meaning? What is the meaning of speed and time in ratio? When speed increases, time decreases. When speed decreases, time increases. Is this something that you can understand?
Yes.
So my time has to be inverse, which is 4 is to 3. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Okay, so that's basically how you would do this question, okay? So yeah, so what I want to do now is, of course, I want to ask myself, right? What is the difference? What is the difference in time? Can you see that the difference in time is 1 unit? And what do you think this 1 unit is? This 1 unit is basically my 6 minute, right? Because you see, he'll be late for work for 6 minutes, right? And he'll be early for work. So the difference is actually 14 minutes. 14 minutes. So what we want to do next is to identify, right? In fact, to answer the question, right? At what time does Logan need to reach his office to be on time? Well, you want to find the time first, which is 4 units, right? So 4 units is 14 times 4, right? And we realize that the answer has to be 14 times 4. That gives me 56 minutes. right? 56 minutes. Okay, now, so the question says, what time does he needs to be at his office if he wants to reach on time? So he took 56 minutes, right? I'm just going to use S1 and T1. He took 56 minutes. But because he took 56 minutes, he will be how many minutes late? 56 minutes late, correct or not? So to be on time, my duration has to be 56 minus 6, which is equals to 50 minutes. So that means to say from 8:20, because he left home at what time? Sorry, 7:20, yeah? 7:20, 50 minutes later, all right, so we go by 40 minutes first, we say that this is 8, right? Then after that, we have another 20 minutes to go, correct or not? So therefore, it's 8:20 a.m. All right, so therefore, this is your answer for this question. Now let's go to B, the distance between. So if I want to find distance, I need to quickly write out first. Do I have my speed? I definitely have my speed, right?
Yeah.
What is my speed? You know that it's 60 kilometers.
80.
Okay, fine. You want to use 80 also can, whichever. All right, what is the time?
7.
What is the time? The time, as you can see over there, is what? How about we should use 60, right? We can use 60, both works, to be honest. Okay, all right. So again, if you want to use 80 kilometers per hour, the time is actually not, you see, it's early by 8 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically 42 minutes. You understand what I'm saying or not? Okay, so the distance has to be 80 times 42 over 60. You get to an answer of 56 kilometers. So the distance between Logan's office and his house is 56 kilometers. Hi everyone, if you like this video, you can click right here for a similar video, or you can view our playlist here.